Hi, hope you're all well. Thought I'd come to you from our little reading snug in the house today with a little read for you as it's World Book Day this week. Have you got a little reading corner? Do you have a little area that you like to curl up with your books? I must admit, I quite like curling up on my bed, getting all the pillows all nice and comfy around me, getting the duvet and snuggling up to disappear in that little world that we travel to when we read our books. So today, I've got a couple of books by Serena Patel. There they are. This is the first one that I'm going to read you a chapter from. This is Anisha, the Accidental Detective. And then this is the second one that came out towards the end of last year, appropriately named Schools Cancelled. And if you like science experiments, especially volcano ones, that is absolutely brilliant. We're big fans of these ones, and the third one is due out very soon, so I'm keeping my eyes open for that one, as I think it might be set in a certain space centre. So, Anisha, let's give you a little read of the blurb at the back. Help, my super dramatic Auntie Bindi is getting married tomorrow and she's having a mega meltdown. But shh, I've just found a ransom note pushed through the letterbox saying Uncle Tony, Bindi's husband-to-be, has been kidnapped and will only be freed if the wedding is cancelled. I have to keep this a secret, otherwise it will be panic central. I guess it's up to me, Anisha, accidental detective, to save the day. So, just read to you chapter 1 to give you a little idea of the story. So, chapter 1, disaster. No, this is terrible. I said pink carnations. If I wanted red ones, I would have asked for red ones, yelled Auntie Bindi. She's making a right racket. Her fists are clenched and her face is turning a funny purpley colour. I'm a bit worried that her head might actually erupt in a big purple slime explosion as she screams at the flower delivery man. This is already the third time she sent the poor man back, and he looks like he's going to cry. I slump in the chair and bury my head in my book. Life, the universe and everything. To try and shut out the noise. I just wish I could get some peace and quiet around here. Dad says I should be reading more appropriate books for girls my age. I'm not sure what kind of books these are, but I like reading about time, space and numbers. Numbers are great. They make sense, unlike people. You'd think this too if you live with my family. The delivery man apologises, like his life depends on it. I'm so sorry, madame. I just deliver the flowers, as I explained before. Perhaps you should ring the shop and tell them exactly what you want. I did tell them. It's not rocket science. Is it? I want my flowers and I want them pink. Is that too much to ask? And with that, she slams the front door so hard that it bounces back and hits her in the face. Auntie, this is just a suggestion, but maybe you should calm down. Getting stressed isn't good for your health, I say, as I watch her rubbing her nose. Mum says these kind of helpful things to my dad all the time. He gets stressed out too, not by flowers, but by his job as a lawyer for Bundy, Bandu and Basker LLP. I'm not sure exactly what he does, but it seems to involve going all red in the face and shouting down the phone a lot. When I grow up, I'm going to work in a lab where it's clean and quiet and I don't have to see a lot of people. That would be my number one dream job. I wonder what yours would be. This wedding is going to be a disaster. A first-class disaster, Auntie Bindi wails. She's been speaking all high-pitched like this ever since she started planning her wedding. The wedding of the year. The wedding that is happening tomorrow. She's marrying her sweetie pie. That's what she calls him. Ugh. His real name is Tanvir, except only his mum calls him that. Everyone else has to call him by his nickname, Tony. According to the grown-ups, a wedding is a really big deal. Flowers, frilly dresses and a ridiculously large cake with little people on top and expensive crystals around the edges. It all seems totally unnecessary to me. For their honeymoon, they're going to this resort in Spain, which has the world's biggest theme park. Is it me, or is that a weird place to go on your honeymoon? Uncle Tony loves it though. Theme parks are his favourite thing, as well as music by an old rock and roll star I'd never heard of, Elvis Presley. And his favourite person in the whole wide world is, of course, Auntie Bindi. She loves what he loves, and they are so cringe when they are together. But the worst thing about this wedding is that Auntie Bindi decided that I should be bridesmaid and I have to wear the most awful lehenga, which is made up of bright orange embroidered top with an itchy gold frill on the sleeves and neckline and a floor-length skirt in the same colour. Now, I love Auntie Bindi. Out of my whole ridiculously big family, she is my favourite aunt, and she does make me laugh. She used to look after me a lot when I was little because she lived with us. And even though she can be a bit much sometimes, we've always been so close. Even though we're so different, Auntie Bindi is really kind-hearted and she would do anything for everyone, especially me. I would do mostly anything for her, but when it comes to itchy bridesmaid lehengas, I'd rather wear a lab coat. Mum said I'd better not suggest that to my auntie though, especially as how crazy all this wedding stuff is making her. You know what? I'll ring Tony. He'll calm me down. He always knows what to say, she whitters as she taps on her phone with her sparkly false nails. Auntie Bindi loves things that sparkle. She has sparkly bags, sparkly clothes. She's even been talking about getting a sparkly pink car. I've told her I will not be getting in it with her. I take a deep breath and try to get back into my book, but the quiet doesn't last long. Humph! He's not even answering. What else could he possibly have to do that's more important than speaking to me? She whines, running her sparkly hairs through her big hair. I'm not sure what the right answer is to that question, so I keep my mouth firmly shut. Auntie Bindi is not usually this whiny. She can be squawky for sure, but this is next level annoying. She has barely stopped for breath. Do you realise the wedding is tomorrow? I'm having my Mendy done at lunchtime today, and I've got a huge zit on my nose and now probably a big bruise as well. All the relatives are arriving any minute, and the florist can't even get the garlands right. She pauses dramatically for effect and flops onto our green corduroy sofa with the back of her hand to her head like she's about to faint. Auntie Bindi really likes to be dramatic. I firmly believe that she sometimes thinks she's in a Bollywood movie. This one time she got really upset because she and Uncle Tony had an argument. So she sat by the window sobbing and singing Terabina Zindagi, which is a really old Indian love song, and apologies if I pronounced that wrong, at the top of her voice. She was so loud and out of tune that the neighbours complained. Well, mostly Mr. Bogoff from number 62. He's always complaining about something. I had to admit, though, on this occasion, the singing was pretty bad. I put my headphones on with earmuffs over the top and I could still hear her. Having relatives living with you can be hard work. Right now, I really want to ask Auntie Bindi how the big zit on her nose affects her having her Mendy done on her hands and feet, but maybe it's not the right time for questions. Then I think maybe she started a new trend. Nose Mendy. You know, nose Mendy could really take off. In fact, what's she complaining about? It could actually cover up the planet-sized spot that is emerging on her nose. It looks a little like Saturn, or maybe Mars, and it's getting redder by the minute. Mendy is a bit swirly-twirly for me. I prefer right angles, but I'm guessing that Mendy squares might look a bit odd. I'm sure it would look nice on Auntie Bindi, though, as she's a swirly-twirly kind of person. Actually, if Auntie Bindi does have a Mendy on her nose, it might draw attention away from My horrid orange and gold lenga. Nose Mendy plus all eyes on Auntie Bindi equals higher probability of me not being the joke of the wedding. Result. There we go. I think about telling Auntie Bindi about my analysis of the situation, but instead I say, I'm sure it'll all work out in the end. This is something else my mum says a lot, mostly when everything is going wrong. Mum likes to see the positive in every situation. She says when she was growing up, everything was much more chilled out. It all sounds very inefficient. I like things to be organised and neat. It's kind of my thing. My family are so messy and noisy that sometimes I think I must have been adopted or beamed down by aliens. Just then, my earlier wish is granted, and Mum comes down the stairs. What is all the noise about? Is everything okay, Bindi? She calls out. It's fine, Mum, I shout back, rolling my eyes. It's not fine. It's all a disaster, Dee. Auntie Bindi grabs my mum and starts to cry noisily onto her shoulder. Why do Indian weddings have to take so long? They don't just last one day, they go on for a whole week. Yesterday there was a ceremony in the house with a priest and lots of singing. Mum had to paint Auntie Bindi with turmeric on her face and arms and legs. She looked like a big yellow monster. Granny said it's supposed to be a special blessing and also it's good for your skin. Well, they're never doing that to me. Not that I'm ever getting married. Today is the Mendy party, so the marquee will be filled with family again. Not just a few relatives either. Mum said we're expecting 100 guests. I didn't know that we were related to that many people. But Mum said her and Auntie Bindi's side of the family is really big. I looked through the patio doors at the end of our living room into the marquee and out into the garden beyond. Right at the bottom, behind the hedge, is Granny's greenhouse. No matter how packed the house and marquee get, no one will go near it. No one is ever allowed to enter the greenhouse. So I'm just going to move on just a little bit as we go full into the party. Now, she's had a little decision and then she's going to pop out because it's all getting far too much. And she said, I have to get out of here, even if it's just for a little bit. I jump up and say, just go into Milo's. Mum waves her free hand and says, don't be long, Annie. Remember the Mendy party is starting in a little while. People will be arriving soon. Yes, Mum, I answer, even though I can't think of anything worse than a house full of people and having to talk to them for hours about swirly-whirly Mendy. I grab my backpack and head for the front door. When I enter the hallway, I notice an envelope sticking halfway through the letterbox. Did the postman come already? Mum's always moaning that he's late. She'll be pleased he's early for once. I bend down and grab the envelope. There's no stamp on it. And on the front, someone scrawled, to the bride. I turn the envelope over and the flap slides open, revealing the part of the letter inside. One word jumps out at me. Kidnapped. My hands are shaking now. I quickly open the front door and look round. The street outside is empty. I shut the door and look at the half-opened envelope. What do I do? Without really thinking, I pull the note out to read it. The paper is thick and looks expensive. Don't ask me why, but I smell it. It has a sharp odour. It's really familiar, but I can't think what it is. To Bindi, we have kidnapped Tony. If you ever want to see him again, call off the wedding. You have until 7 p.m. tonight or else. From the kidnapper. There we go. And there's the ransom note. I read it again to make sure I haven't misunderstood. Someone has kidnapped Uncle Tony on the day before the wedding. Is this a joke? Who would joke about something like that? I peek back into the living room at Auntie Bindi, who is still blowing her nose. How much snot does she have in there? And Mum, who is still trying to reassure her that the wedding isn't cursed and that as it doesn't look that bad. I realise that if I go in there now and show them this note, it will be like a volcano erupting. So I decide there and then to keep it to myself until I can make sense of it. It could just be a joke, although it's not really that funny. But it sounds real. Kidnap. A shiver runs down my spine. I'm not sure what to do. Why would anyone want to kidnap Uncle Tony? But wait, there's usually a logical reason for most things that happen. There must be a logical explanation for this note. I just need to work out what it is. I need my best friend, Milo. He'll know what to do. And that's how I end up running like lightning down the road to number 58. There we go. And if you want to find out more and say it's from Anisha, the accidental detective. There we go. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will do another little story tomorrow. And any questions, do pop me a little message. Take care, everyone. Speak to you soon. Bye.